Hey guys, welcome back to World of Tanks with the Captain, and today I'm bringing out the Luchs. We're in the Skirmish 17 tournament that is on the North American server. I'm not sure if anywhere else in the world has the same tournament that we're having, but it's basically sort of like the 742 format, except there's 5 tier 8 heavy tanks, or medium tanks or light tanks, and a tier 4 tank. Or you can mix it up and bring in a tier 7 and a tier 5 if you want. So basically you can see in my team that we've got two 5100s, a Pershing, a T69, and a 1390. But that lineup has changed and fluctuated around quite a bit. So I am the scout, and I just roam on my own. And my main goal is to try and find their scout, kill them, and then try and spot the rest of their team or get on the cap. So I'm just driving around over here and see if I can spot any of their tanks. And I'm just popping up on the hill. Don't really want to get spotted. My Luchs crew is pretty good. I've got a 2-skill crew with 6 cents. And I spot the Tiger 2. And my 6 cents did not go off, so I was stealthy enough to stop and get behind cover. So he did not have the chance to shoot me. And there goes their scout. They stuck him over on this hill over there. Interesting choice. They played a pretty defensive base camp strat. And I'm just going to try and get up around over here. See if I can spot this Tiger 2, or at least tie him up for a while. So I head to that rock just so I could use it as cover and go ring around the rosy if I needed to, but I didn't. So I pop around the back and see what kind of spots I can get. Just stop, look around, not seeing too much. Oh, got a little bit of movement. And his gun is pointed towards them, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait until my guys get a little bit closer. I'm going to try and keep him spotted since I do have line of sight to him. But if I see him pulling back or getting behind cover, I'm just going to load into him. And that made him pull back a little bit. Did a little bit of damage to him. Now he's only got 340 left, so he could be a 1 or a 2 shot for just about everyone left. And shooting at the back of a Tiger 2 at this range, probably not going to yield too much results, so I changed my target to the 112. That is kind of, he's got his ass hanging off the back of the cliff here, and he's kind of going back and forth. So I pop out, fully aim my shot, bring him down to 98 health. And yeah, you see the turret coming around. He probably wasn't too happy about that, was he? And I thought about going down to the bottom and then shooting up at him, but I just went back to the same bush because he wouldn't be able to spot me. And then a couple more shots into him, take out the 112. Now I've got a tier 8 kill on my list. Start reloading my clip. Luchs is such a good looking little tank. I've got full camouflage on it and a camo net. I also run it with gas because I like to get up to speed as fast as I can. This thing power slides like a boss. It's pretty cool. And now I'm just going to get over here and try and put some shots into the 5100. And being as annoying as possible. And he missed. I did 200 damage to him. Now instead of paying attention to the tanks that matter, he's paying attention to me. And he's going to try and crash through these buildings to get me. And that didn't work because Matt took him out. And now, oh, look at that. IS-3. The nice thing about the Luchs when it uses this particular gun is you can just shoot normal AP rounds into the back of almost all these heavy tanks and do damage to all of them. And it worked again. The other IS-3 decided, I'm going to go for the tier 4 kill. And before it can get any shots into the Tiger, he dies. So that was a pretty fun match. I ended up doing around 750 damage, got a tier 10 kill. Did a fair bit of damage to the 5100, a little bit to the IS-3s and stuff. And it was a lot of fun. The Luchs is a great tank, and especially for this tournament, I really like the augmented format here, where instead of having T1s driving around, you have like a real capable like tier 4 tank that can actually do damage to the other enemy tanks in the enemy team. Like, I could have brought my Su-85B and done lots of damage in a couple of the other games as well. But the Luchs is a good choice. It's a good scout tank. It's hard to see, and it's got the autocannon for when it needs to engage stuff up close and actually do around 200 to 400 damage to some of these tanks, especially when you shoot prem rounds. I didn't actually shoot any prem rounds. I didn't really need to, so ended up turning out really good. And we're back. I am in my Luchs again, but this is just a regular 15 on 15 battle that was pretty fast and furious. It didn't last super long, but it was a lot of fun, and it just proves to me that the tier 4 Luchs is just a really fun tank. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get up to the mid-ridge, and I'm going to try and get as many spots as I can without getting killed. Look at all these juicy tanks. Juicy, juicy, juicy. And even spotted their artillery. Yippee! And there was a Hellcat there, so I took some shots at him. And I ran into the building. I wanted to get behind this wall because the other Hellcat had actually perched himself up on the ridge there and decided to crest over into our side. So I turn around. Probably didn't need to ram into that truck. The power to rate ratio is great. Much better than the 12T. This is a better tank to fight 12 or tier 7 and 8 tanks than the 12T is. In my experience, it's just the mobility and the ability for it to move around and just to stop and do 400 damage and then piss off for a little while. I just prefer the playstyle of this because of the mobility to the 12T. And from what I've read, they're going to be nerfing this thing's matchmaking spread, or buffing it, I guess. So it will only meet tier 7s, I think. And I ran into the that there, which is a bit of a mistake. Ended up doing 300 damage to the Hellcat. Screwed his tank up okay. I think I killed a few things. And that left the Airall V39 to go over and finish him off. And the rest of their team is wilting quite quickly. Got a little bit of air. I just love everything about this guy. And I'm already doing 60 again. I've got off-road driving at like 60 something %. The terrain resistance for the Luchs is great. It drives over things pretty well. And this is where I decide I'm going to go on a run. Just going to ignore the heavy tanks, and I'm going to take out their light tanks. So I shoot him on the move. Took a hit from some artillery there. Did a Luchs ram on their artillery for a little bit of damage. And then he backed into me. Did 9 more damage. Almost reloaded. And he's toast. So that's 2 kills. Woo! This was one of the fastest games I've seen in a while. It's only lasted about 3 minutes. Their team was pretty bad. And I probably could have got some loser points there just by hanging out in the cap, but I wanted to find the type, but he had his gun pointed at me, and he reloads too fast for me to pop out again. So I just left it up to the Hellcat, and he finished the game out. But I got the spot for that and the existence damage as well. So if you like fast tanks and you don't mind being a scout and sometimes sitting in a bush for a really long time, this tank is fantastic. It's a good passive scout. It's a good active scout. I've got vents on it, and I run a Bino and Camo Net, and it's just awesome. I don't have anything really too bad to say about it. Like, you can run it with the auto cannon, or you can run it with the single shot, which has 130 pen with its prem rounds. So you've got good options for the guns, and I just don't hesitate to recommend this tank. It's a keeper for me. I'm pretty much sold on it. I will never sell it, and I've got full camo, even for desert and snow. So just thought I'd do something a little bit different and show off one of my favorite tanks, which is the Tier 4 Luchs from the Germans.